For years, I thought I was just an anxious parent around water and cars. My husband and I had both been lifeguards for years in our late teens and early 20s. I told myself that that's why I was so hypervigilant because we knew what could happen. Years later, I realized I was wrong. I wasn't an anxious parent. My neurodivergent kids were just baseline less safe. And once I understood that, everything shifted around my perception of safety and hypervigilance and this anxiety I was putting on myself. Hey there, welcome to the Behavior Coach Podcast. I am Erica Nielsen Mahoney, an ADHD coach, educator, and doctoral student. I help families understand the nervous systems behind the behavior, and I'm also raising 2 neurodivergent kids of my own. So the things we talk about here come from research, from my professional work with families, and from real life inside a neurodivergent home. This podcast is the audio version of the work I have been doing for years through writing, coaching, and teaching, turned into conversations you can take with you, because sometimes you don't need another article. You just need something thoughtful in your ears while you're driving, walking the dog, or folding the never-ending laundry. Let's get into it. Before we get into today, 2 quick notes. First, I had originally planned to talk about travel this week, and that's what I said at the end of last episode. But when I sat down to record today, I felt compelled to focus on safety instead. Travel will come back around, but safety, I really just wanted to talk about it right now at the beginning of summer when it can be most helpful to talk about this topic. Second, this episode is the last episode of season 1 of the Behavior Coach podcast. 17 episodes in, we are taking a little break for the rest of summer. I will be back though in late August to launch season 2, which will start with a back to school set of episodes. So this is our summer wrap up. Thank you for being with me this first season. I really appreciate everyone who is here. Let's get started. If you have ever been told that you are being too much, too worried, too hypervigilant with your neurodivergent child, this episode is for you. Parenting a neurodivergent kid is a supervision ask that most people do not understand. Impulsivity, proprioception seeking, thrill seeking, reduced safety awareness, sensory seeking, elopement, dysregulation. These are all real documented parts of the ADHD and autistic experience. And they combine into what can genuinely feel like an impossible supervision situation. Add water or another hazard to the mix, and the risk is not theoretical. The statistics are sobering. Children with autism are roughly 160 times more likely to die from drowning than the general pediatric population. Drowning is the leading cause of death for autistic children. And around 91% of those deaths involve wandering or elopement. Kids with ADHD kids also have a higher rate of injuries overall. Injuries from falls, from bikes, from playgrounds, from road accidents. The impulsivity, the reduced safety awareness, the sensory seeking that we see in kids with autism and ADHD, they all put the odds against our kids in ways that they simply do not for a neurotypical family. So when I hear parents get told that they are too worried, I want to say this out loud. You are not too worried. Your child is baseline less safe, and your hypervigilance is not simply anxiety. It is love, translated into vigilance in a body that has learned that it needs to be watching. Let's start with water. I want to say right up front, I am not a medical professional and nothing in this episode is medical advice, but the research here is really important and I do want to share it today. Columbia University has published the finding that autistic children are 160 times more likely to die from drowning than the general pediatric population. I do have a link to that article in the notes. It is a leading cause of death in the autistic population. Water for many neurodivergent kids is a perfect safety storm. Water is sensory heaven. The pressure, the resistance, the temperature, sound, all in one. My kids love water, especially my youngest. It is also completely silent when things go wrong. Drowning is nothing like it looks in the movies. It is quiet, fast, and often invisible. I want to share a story from my own parenting experience. When my youngest was 3 years old, we had an incident. It was May before swimming season, and we were at a park by the lake we live near setting up for my sister's baby shower. Both my husband and I were there. Her aunt was there. Her grandparents were there. All of us were watching kids play. But then in one moment, she was gone. Because of the water and because of her love of water, my stomach dropped in a way that I will never forget. We found her within 2 minutes or less. She had just tucked behind a piece of playground equipment. But that moment shook me enough that it has changed the way I approach water safety until now. That same week that incident happened, Susie from Busy Toddler on Instagram, if you have littles, you should follow her. She's amazing. She shared a post about a technique that pilots used called a verbal transfer of control. When one pilot hands over the controls to the other, they say it out loud. I have the plane, and the other pilot says, my plane. From the day I saw that post, my husband and I have used it every single time we are near water outdoors or in any environment where our kids really need eyes on them. When we want to pass supervision, and this is specifically always about my youngest child, one of us says, your Hadley, and the other says, my Hadley. That is it. It is so simple, and it has become one of the most powerful safety tools in our family. She is 8 now, and we still do it. The core principle that we work from in my family and that I recommend in my practice is called layered safety. It's this idea that no single tool is enough. Every layer we add reduces risk. Here is what layered water safety looks like in our family. Number 1, swim lessons, and lots of them. We had to do private lessons for my younger daughter because group lessons were way too overwhelming. Just too much sensory input, too many unfamiliar kids, too much waiting, that was a big one, and too much noise. Private lessons gave her the one-on-one attention that and the quiet that she needed to actually learn and make progress. And I want to be honest, this was expensive. I am grateful that we could swing it, and I also want to name that we prioritized this over other things. If group lessons are not working for your kid, please do not give up. Ask for private or one-to-one adapted lessons. And if that is not an option for your family, then get in the water together and practice the basics with your child. Skills that we focused on in and out of lessons with our girls, especially when they were younger, have been getting in and out of the pool, using the steps and the ladder, and getting out with the pool edge, like literally getting in and out and in and out and in and out, and then floating on their front and their back, and then flipping from front to back, flutter kick, getting across the water, coming up for air and turning back to shore, as well as talking through and practicing what to do if you get bumped by another kid in the water. These are the survival skills that we have really prioritized. Another layer that we always consider is physical barriers and locks wherever we go, and that includes when we are traveling. If we travel and the accommodation has a pool with poor barriers, we bring our own door locks. Like I have handle covers that we can stick on to make it so that it is difficult to open to get outside. I know that sounds intense, but I have done it when we stayed in Mexico in the past when my younger was little, and I would 100% do it again. Next rule, always life jackets, PFDs in open water, always, not just when we think that our kids might swim on boats, the life jacket does not come off at all. And then tighter supervision when our kids are dysregulated. A dysregulated kid is a less safe kid. If one of our kids is overtired, overstimulated, or having a hard day, we tighten supervision. We do not loosen it. And now I want to share a bit about what the years of this kind of work have led to in our family, because it is a hopeful update if you have little ones. My younger daughter, who has been our main safety hazard in our household, is 8 now. And this year, she confidently passed all of the safety protocols at our local community pool to be able to swim in every part of the pool. It is a well lifeguarded pool that she is familiar with and that she knows how to be safe in. And for the first time in her entire life, I feel like I can relax a little while she is in the water. She is still going to be doing a set of private lessons this summer to keep deepening her skills. And I am still just as focused on her in beach type settings and any non-lifeguarded setting. And the life jacket does not and will not come off on a boat, but we are getting there. All those years of practice have paid off. If you are in the early years of this work with your kid, I want you to hear me. It is worth it. So far this year, I have actually kicked back on a lounge chair and chatted with other parents while my kid was swimming with friends, and it was wonderful. Now let's move past water and talk a little bit about a few other safety hazards, starting with sun and heat, because there are some real considerations for neurodivergent bodies that many parents don't know about, and I didn't know about. And the research here is genuinely under-discussed. Many autistic individuals have differences in thermoregulation, meaning the body is less efficient at adapting to rising temperatures. This can go in a few directions. Some autistic kids feel heat more intensely and become overwhelmed by warmth that other people barely notice. Others underreact to dangerous body heat, meaning they will keep playing in a way that puts them in real risk of overheating without noticing that they are in trouble. And some experience both at different times. There is also research pointing to differences in sweating patterns and autonomic function that affect how autistic bodies cool themselves down. Interoception, which is the ability to notice what is happening inside your body, is often reduced in both autism and ADHD, which means your child may genuinely not feel that they are overheating until they are quite far along. And a piece now that I want to share specifically for parents of medicated ADHD kids. Again, this is not medical advice. Always talk to your prescribing doctor, but the research on stimulant medications and heat is really important. Stimulants like methylphenidate and amphetamines can impact the body's ability to regulate temperature. They can reduce thirst, suppress appetite, and increase metabolism and body heat production and alter sweating patterns, which means a child on a stimulant medication may not notice they are thirsty, may not want to eat, and may be running hotter than usual all at once. The clinical guidance is consistent. Set a hydration schedule. Do not rely on your child saying they are thirsty. Offer water or an electrolyte beverage every 30 to 60 minutes during hot days. Keep a filled bottle with them wherever they go. And make sure that they eat or hydrate with electrolytes, even if they say they are not hungry, because low food intake means low electrolytes. And know the signs of heat exhaustion, including dizziness, confusion, rapid heart rate, headache, and nausea. If any of these show up, get them cool, get them hydrated, and if it is severe, call your physician. One final note when it comes to heat and sun is that sunburn prevention is another challenge. And again, our kids don't always notice when they are burning. So for our family, sunscreen always goes on before we leave the house, not after we notice pink shoulders. I use a makeup brush to apply sunscreen to my kids, and my older teen uses this herself. That has eliminated a number of the sunscreen aversion challenges that we had. And then we always focus on a lot of shade breaks throughout the day. Another safety hazard that I'm going to talk about briefly that is particularly challenging in the summer is elopement and wandering. This one I could do an entire episode on, but as this podcast primarily focuses on ADHD and elopement is a larger topic in autism specifically, I'm going to keep this section focused and short. But if you have a kid that wanders or bolts, here are my top safety tips for this summer. Number one, get your child to memorize your phone number as early as possible. We actually used my phone number as the password on all of our devices for a period of time because I knew my kids would be motivated to master a password to be able to get onto the devices. And they have had it memorized ever since. My older daughter still uses my phone number as the password to get onto her computer. But my kids will not forget that because they really want to be able to get onto the iPad. In crowded spaces, ID bracelets with your phone number are a great option. There are so many choices these days, from silicone to leather to even you can get temporary tattoos made with your phone number on them. Pick what your kid will tolerate on a sensory level. I also like to have a family meeting place. In our house, our public plan is super simple. If you get separated, you stop and hug a tree or a bench or a wall until mom or dad find you. Naming it as a hug helps a scared kid to know exactly what to do. You find something to hug, you stay there, and you practice the plan. Walk through it when you arrive somewhere. Where is the meeting spot? What are you going to do? What is my phone number? And final hazard is road safety and travel safety, because these are real summer risks as well. There's so many more, but I wanted to keep this not too long today. Impulsivity plus a car in a parking lot is a really scary combination. And my hypervigilance around parking lots, roads, and cars comes from the same place that my hypervigilance around water comes from. And it has been reinforced by many moments in the wild where my child has tried to bolt into traffic, and also where I have not once but twice pulled a child that was not mine out of the pathway of a moving vehicle. My kids now know, they've always known, but they're really on it, that if you are under 10 years old in a parking lot, we hold hands, no exceptions. This is a non-negotiable in my family. And it took a lot of work to get there. For travel, the principle is the same as pools. New environments are harder. New sensory loads, new layouts, new hazards. When we arrive somewhere new, we walk through it. We name the hazards. We identify the exits. If we are in a hotel or an Airbnb with balconies, we do not use doors. We block them off if they lead to access with a high balcony. We just don't go there. Maybe now that my younger daughter's 8, maybe we'll allow balconies, but I don't know if I'm actually ready yet. If the door locks are not enough, we bring our own. Like I said earlier, I know it's intense, but if there is a door lock leading to a safety hazard, I will add extra. If the pool is not gated well, we point that out as a family that this is not a safe pool and we plan around it. As we wrap up today, here is what I want you to take away. If you are a neurodivergent parent who feels hypervigilant, sometimes it is not too much. It is not neuroses. It is not you just being an anxious parent. It is love translated into vigilance in a body that has just, you've learned that you have to watch. And in the neurodivergent world, that vigilance is often exactly what is keeping your kids safe. Do not let anyone tell you otherwise. And also, I am sorry. I am truly so sorry that your experience of parenting needs to be a little bit scarier. But I want you to know that you are not alone in that. Second piece, layered safety works. Swim lessons work, practice works, naming hazards works, verbal handoffs work, barriers and locks work. It is a lot to hold, but it pays off. Like I said earlier, my 8-year-old passing all of the pool safety protocols this year is proof that all of these years of work were worth every single hour. Your action item for this summer when it comes to safety is to pick one layer to add to or strengthen. Maybe it is the your kid, my kid verbal handoff with your partner. Maybe it is hydration schedule for your medicated kid. Maybe it is a meeting spot for the next family outing. Maybe it is finally booking those private swim lessons one layer at a time. That is how safety is built. And now this is the final episode of season 1 of the Behavior Coach podcast. 17 episodes ago, I was launching a podcast into the world, not knowing if anyone would listen, and you did. Thank you for that. I am taking a few weeks off now to rest, be with my kids, write my comprehensive exams for my doctoral program, work on the next audio course, and get ready to bring you season 2 in late August. We are opening the season in the fall with a back to school arc because that transition is one that needs attention. In the meantime, the entire back catalog is here for you, episodes 1 through 17. If you are new, this is a great time to go back and start at the beginning. Have a beautiful, safe, and hopefully slow summer. I will see you in late August. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. If this episode gave you something, a new way to think about what's happening in your home, a moment where you felt a little less alone in this, I would love for you to share it with someone who might need it too. Until next time, take care of yourself. You are doing harder work than most people understand, and you're showing up for it. That matters.